Hello, welcome to my first devlog on my new game, Sage 64. I started working on Sage 64 around a month ago. The concept of the game is that it's like a Nintendo 64 styled puzzle game, but slowly turns into a horror game. I know you've probably seen plenty of games similar to that. I don't want to spoil too much about the game, because I want you guys to be able to play it and see all the stuff for yourself when it comes out. So I'm going to be a bit vague when it comes to talking about the story, but without further ado, let's actually just get into the fucking video. So I started off like any other project. I created a 3D universal render pipeline project, which is just the way the graphics are, it looks nicer. I started working on a basic character controller. I used these test blocks to see how high I wanted the player to be able to jump. I then implemented momentum. So the way it works is a bit scuffed, but it gets the job done. There's 3 variables: walk speed, run speed, and current speed. Current speed starts as walk speed, and as the player moves, the current speed slowly goes up and up and up until it reaches the run speed, where it caps and doesn't go any higher. In simpler terms, if you press down the joystick, you slowly speed up rather than immediately going to your max speed. This is what a lot of older games used to do, because there wasn't enough buttons on a controller to have a dedicated run button. And this is what I'm going to be doing due to the fact that I'm trying to replicate the feel and style of the old games. I then began working on character designs. I made 3 different characters: a short guy with spikes and a top hat, a tall guy wearing a suit, and a messy triangle dude. I decided the first design was better to be the main character because I thought it was nice and simple, and I can just imagine it being the main character more than a triangle with stitching on his hoodie. So I began to model him. I added bones so that he can move his limbs in animations later on. I finished modelling him and I imported him into the scene. I started working on his animations right away because I just wanted it to be out of the way, I wanted it to look good, blah blah blah. I wanted his walking and running animations to slowly crossfade into each other so that they're a bit smoother. I achieved this by using a blend tree. A blend tree fades animations based on a value. So I simply plugged the speed into the blend tree and adjusted the values so that the minimum speed would just barely be walking and the maximum speed would be sprinting. In between animating the player and creating a little small map to roam around in, I made 3 main themes for the game. I made a title screen, an overworld theme, and a dark theme. When I finished creating the test map, I added a little cabin that you can enter. I added lighting and a trigger to play the dark theme when you entered, and made it so that when you leave the cabin, the overworld theme would play instead. I thought the world was a bit empty, so I modelled up the suit guy from the previous concepts and ported him into the scene. I then spent around 3 hours coding a simple dialogue system. But after a little bit, I got pretty bored of messing around with all the dialogue, so I started working on the actual main part of the game. Everything you've seen so far was just the in-between sections of the game. The main part of the game are the mini-games. When you're talking to an NPC, they'll ask you to do a job for them. For example, go get my lost sheep or go farm my carrots. And you'll be put into a unique minigame for each job that you do. But be careful, because if you mess up on the minigame, the game will glitch. The first minigame I decided to make was a hay maze. The hay maze is exactly what it looks like. It's a top-down maze made out of hay. I added a chase between the 8th and 10th levels. If you get hit 5 times, your game will crash, but everything will be normal when you boot the game back up, like nothing ever happened. I'm starting to run out of things to say about this, so you're just gonna have to see it for yourself. Anyway, that's as far as I've gotten in development. Game development's slow, but I hope to have a demo out before July this year, so stay tuned. Goodbye.